Okay, quick intro for this one because I'm in a hurry. I've got to get downstairs for the seminar. But anyway, here's a look outside my window this morning. Very cold here in Las Vegas. Had that wind warning last night. It was blowing things all over the place. They even closed down the airport for a while. So anyway, I'm going to get downstairs, get some seminars done, and I'll be talking to you throughout the day.
Understand how to use leverage, okay? So leverage comes in three different forms in my opinion. Of course, there's other opinions out there as well, but three main ways that you can leverage. The first one is going to be to use other people's time, right? That's the most traditional way. If you think about, you may be working for an employer at the moment, right? So your employer is using you as leverage to be able to fulfill whatever they're trying to fulfill, the mission that they're trying to accomplish, right? So utilizing other people's time is a way to be able to have a larger output than just your own, because you only have the same 24 hours and the same amount of bandwidth and energy in a single day, right? So when you can actually replicate it by hiring folks and empowering other folks to now contribute towards your mission, now you can get to places a lot faster, right? And so Archimedes said, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world single-handedly. So let me go ahead and say that again, okay? Give me a lever long enough and a place on which to place the lever, right? And I shall be able to move the world single-handedly. Let me give you another illustration. So another illustration would be, let's say we're trying to move a large boulder that's way larger than yourself, right? You could try to push against that boulder yourself. You're gonna, of course, burn up a ton of energy, right? And break out a sweat. And you may not even be able to budge that boulder by yourself, right? But now we could take a steel rod, place it on another rock, right? And now try to push down on the lever on one side and hopefully influence that boulder to move a little bit. But guess what? You're still utilizing your own energy, right? And a ton of energy at that. Now what about if we were to take a crane in the situation, or a bulldozer, right? Now I could sit in a chair and I could single-handedly maneuver this machine that moves the boulder nice and easy, right? And that's the power of leverage, okay? So here's the thing. How many of you are multi-ops? Decent amount, decent amount. So you guys already understand that, right? How many of you are full-time? Decent amount too. Awesome. What about part-time? Great, great. And then what about just hobbyists? No judgment here. Anybody like not making money at DJing yet? And just kind of practicing? No? Okay. It makes sense. I mean, it takes a decent amount to invest to come out here, right? So, okay. So those of you that are part-timers, there's absolutely no judgment in this room, okay? But I encourage you to consider quitting your job and doing this full-time if that's your dream, okay? I understand. If you love your main profession, stick with it, right? But if you're like, man, I really love DJing, and I talk to so many DJs on a regular basis and hear it over and over and over again. Folks are like, man, I have my full-time job because I got to make ends meet. But if I could figure out a way to make a full-time living as a DJ, I absolutely would, right? And just know that your employer that you're working for at the moment, instead of investing in your own dream, is utilizing you as leverage, okay? So try to turn the script. Invest in yourself, invest in your own business, get up to a point where you can start hiring employers and contractors and start utilizing other people's time as leverage to fulfill your mission a lot quicker, okay? Multi-op and you're still working events, you technically own a job still. Even if you're not working events and you're still working within your company, you still own a job. You're just the manager, the CEO, right? Instead of being the true business owner. Think of a football analogy. I'm not really that into football, but here's an analogy. There's the players on the field, there's a coach on the sidelines, right? You understand the coach on the sidelines still is the person that owns the job, right? The owner is actually in the owner's box. They're not participating in part of the game, they're just watching their investment, right? So, one is, a job, sorry, I can't even read that actually. Okay, yeah, so a job is not sellable like a business, okay? Here's the sad truth, that 70% of small businesses in the US never end up selling, right? Business owners are like, you know what, I want to get out of this, I want to try to sell it. They try to put the value on the customer list, their equipment, their time and sacrifice. And savvy investors look at it as like, okay, but if you're required to work within the business, I don't have an investment because I'm not going to replace you. I'm just looking to invest in an asset that produces more income, right? So that's the reason why most small businesses end up not selling, and they end up going to the grave with the small business owner. In addition to that, also, let's talk about the bus factor. Anybody hear about the bus factor before? Most people have a bus factor of 1. Which means, how many buses can hit someone in your company before the business goes extinct? I know, it's a dark analogy, right? What's up, Mike? How's it going? Thanks for coming, man. Right, it is pretty dark, for sure. So, here's the thing. Most of us that are the business owner, the CEO, which usually stands for Chief Everything Officer, right? The second that the CEO gets hit, boom, business is done, right? Now, if you have team members that work events and you have a manager in place and you're the owner, now you've increased your bus factor by 2, maybe 3, you can consider it, right? Because I guess your employees could still work the events, but they may not be able to manage the business anymore, right? So our sole job as business owners is to increase our bus factor, which is viewed as an insurance policy. Right? It's a redundancy. The more that you can, backups you can put in place, I mean, we all understand this, right? You want to make sure even with your DJ equipment, when you're working events, you want to have backups ready to go because equipment fails, right? Same goes with our business. We want to make sure that we have backups in place so that way our business can survive the bus factor, okay?
It's a little equation yesterday, and actually Casey gave us one last year. If you want to make $100,000 in your business, this is what you do. Well, if you want to make $100,000 in your business, you divide that by the average number of events that you do, or sorry, by the average cost of your, let me start over. If you want to make $100,000, you divide that by your average package price. That's the number of events you have to do. But we're talking about theoretical averages, okay? So here's where I want you guys to do what I call the big equation. You're going to come away with 2 numbers at this point and decide which one you like best. Take your average package price, round it up in your head, okay? Divide that by how many hours you work per event. That is going to give you your hourly rate. Is it useful to know what your hourly rate actually is? I know mine's $50 an hour. That helps. So think about this. Or if you want to think about it as an annual salary, take your hourly rate, multiply it by 40, that's hours per week, multiply that by 52, that's weeks per year, and that gives you your theoretical annual salary. So ask yourself this question. Is that a fair salary for somebody with your level of experience? If it is, well, you can go to lunch. I've got nothing more to show you. If it's not, you have 2 options. You can either decrease the number of hours that you work per event, find a way to make your time more efficient, or raise your prices. Keep crunching those numbers until you reach your desired annual salary. Does that make sense? Good. Some of you are glazed over. Dave, I did not become a DJ to do math. Neither did I. I was a theater major. It was not even in my college. So I think it's time for the obligatory pandemic meme, don't you? I'm actually surprised I haven't seen more of these. I'm going to share with you my favorite pandemic meme. I don't want to get political here, but did anybody feel like the kid in the foreground of this picture during the pandemic, right? Small business treading water, meanwhile government's boosting up big business. This is actually only half of the meme though. What made it really funny to me, because we all learned during the pandemic, anyone try to apply for unemployment during the pandemic, solo operators, yeah, we weren't even small businesses, were we? The event industry, we were down at the bottom of the pool, that was us. I hear some laughs out there, you feel me. All right, now that you know what your hourly rate is, it's time to talk about negotiation, because let's face it, our clients are gonna ask us to work for less, right? I don't know who DJ Platinum Radio is, but he hit the nail on the head with this one. Unless that is DJ Platinum Radio, then I'm grown. I know there were 17 because I counted them. I knew their names by the end of the night. Have you ever tried to entertain 17 people for 4 hours? I'd rather entertain 1,700 people for 8 hours. It was the hardest I have ever worked an event in my life. I was shooting bolts. I was doing conga lines. I was doing contests. I was on the mic, off the mic, doing comedy, whatever I could do for 4 hours. But I entertained them, and I had a nervous breakdown at the end of that. I have never worked harder in my life. It's harder to entertain smaller weddings sometimes. But we don't want to tell our clients that, do we? So why not say something like, a small wedding is going to take at least 35 hours to do properly. Let's go on to this one. The venue has a built-in sound system, so all you have to do is show up and plug in. Now they think we're charging them by the pound. I say, listen, I'm charging you for my time, not for my speakers. Don't get me wrong, I got these sexy-ass DAS speakers, man. They rock, but that's my business, not yours. All right, how about this one? This is my favorite. There's going to be a lot of other couples in attendance who are getting married. This is going to be, everybody say it together, great exposure. Those 2 words. These are the 2 words that got me to retire from bar mitzvahs at 25. If I had any more great exposure, I'd be frickin' Bruno Mars right now. I'm sorry. They usually don't say it like this. They say it something like, I have a lot of friends who just got engaged. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Anyone a fan of Alan Berg? Anyone seen any of Alan Berg's seminars, read any Alan Berg book? You will recognize this for exactly what it is. What is this? This is a buying signal, 100%. This is a client, a bride, a groom, somebody who is telling you, I am ready to sign your contract right now. I'm ready to give you your deposit. I just want to make sure I'm going to get the absolute best deal I can get. So why don't we give it to them? Why don't we offer an incentive to the couple's friends to book prior to their final balance being due? Why don't you say, listen, if you got a lot of friends who are getting married, send it my way. I'll give you $100 off your balance for every single friend that books before your clients or before your final balance is due. Here's some mumbling out there, right? Some of you do this. Or you could say, as my dad used to say, if you really have brass balls, offer them a $100 gift card for every client they send you up to a year after your wedding. Do you think these clients are going to start referring you after their wedding because they like you? There's money. They got skin in the game, man. They're going to be out there giving your card out. They're going to be joining Facebook groups just so that they can pimp you out. They're going to be handing out your business cards to their dentist, to their garbage man, to their mailman, anyone. They want to get paid.